How to understand women. I imagine anyone who knows me clicks this video thinking, oh, this could go wrong in so many ways. Are we going to end up disliking them? If you don't already, yes, naturally. Like one post said, it is impossible to not be a misogynist in 2024. If you have any sort of pattern recognition a la a functioning freaking brain, yeah, that's pretty much inevitability. Also, can we give a shout out to Undoomed, absolute madman that he is here, trying to explain logic and basic math to a woman. That is actually stunning and brave, by the way. This thing with the bear and the man in the forest, asking women what they would rather encounter walking in the forest, I frankly haven't been paying much attention to it because it involves women giving their opinion on something that is incredibly obvious and it went viral, which naturally means they're saying something incredibly stupid and nonsensical. Like I keep telling people, sex, shock, and stupid. Or as I prefer to say, why are you shocked that sex is saying something stupid? Pattern recognition, people. So I want to look briefly at some points as well as mock the bollocks off of all of this because it is really funny. Why do I choose the bear? Men, this is a hypothetical question and you still won't take no for an answer. Looking at your bio, I don't think I would give yes for an answer either. You're acting like I want to be mauled by a bear. I do not. No, I imagine you want to be mauled by something else. Well, maybe not, otherwise you'd have chosen a man. I want to walk alone in the woods. I want to walk down a city street at night. Do you know how beautiful the city is at night? In a homogeneous society, maybe. I want to bicycle down the river trail. So what's stopping you? I cannot. None of this is the bear's fault. True, because the bears don't freaking vote. The chances of being injured by a bear are approximately 1 in 2.1 million, according to the National Park Service. You are more likely to be killed by a bee than a bear. Yeah, because you're more likely to encounter a bee than a bear, you imbecile. And way more likely to be killed by another human than by either bear or bee. Yeah, for the same reason you just mentioned. And when bear encounters do happen, they are more often non-violent. Every 68 seconds in America, a woman is sexually assaulted. On average, there are 463,634 victims aged 12 or older of rape and sexual assault each year in the United States. Hashtag choose the bear. False dichotomy. Because of proximity difference, the reason you're so less likely to be attacked by a bear is because you're unlikely to be around one. Place yourself in the company of grizzly bears as often as you're in the company of men and get back to us. Except she won't because she'll be in friggin' pieces. All type base rate fallacy. Very cool. Dan from the Lotus Eaters. This gets to vote. Yeah, friggin' don't get me started, mate. Jonathan from the Lotus Eaters. Understanding per capita. Some memes here. We don't trust men, so we choose the bear. So you understand why I don't want a man in the bathroom with my daughter. It's good stuff. Fairly Odd Parents with Trixie screaming at Timmy. I choose the bear. It's amazing how this bear thing is showing who is essentially fooled by statistics. This question should be on IQ test and choosing the bear puts you at 50. It's amazing to see how difficult it is for most women to properly interpret statistics. One thing I love about the internet is the way it makes the intellectual gap between men and women so much more visible than it ever was before. Thank you for the demonstration. Oh, this one from Lunkhead is good. I see now, I've put it together. Women aren't choosing the bear because they've gamed it out based on logic and available evidence and soberly determined a lower chance of danger. Well, of course not, you're dealing with women. Basic numeracy of that sort might even be endearing, of course. They're choosing the bear to make a statement and prove a point about just how much they despise men, which just makes them look incredibly stupid. So much so that they would rather be literally mauled by a bear than even encounter one. They're taking an obviously irrational position for rhetorical reasons as a negotiating tactic, so men have to either agree and say, you're right, you're safer around a bear than me, or else be met with a shrill chorus of, see, you're proving my point. Men are evil because they don't do whatever I want and acquiesce to my delusions. Interesting and rather thought-provoking, stark contrast to this bollocks. A whole lot of my fellow men have really misunderstood the assignment with the whole man versus bear thing. Your job wasn't to come charging in to mansplain to women why they were wrong for choosing the bear. Their language alone is going to make people think you're a git, by the way. Your job was to listen to them about why they would choose the bear, and then to hold your fellow men accountable so that in the future, women would not feel inclined to choose the bear. That was the assignment, fellas. I would love to find the mantelpiece nearest to the man who wrote this. I guarantee you his balls are in a jar resting on it. This bollocks assumes that women are talking sense, and once we hear the gospel of wisdom emanating from their soft faces, we will suddenly fall to our knees and promise them we'll be better. Instead of what any sane man will do, which is to get Forrest Whitaker right, turn around and say you're an idiot, get mauled and fuck off. With all of that being said though, I'm a big believer in memory and marketing, and this is a good example of what not to do, because about 60% of that actually had some valid points, all things considered. But the crescendo did not elevate this into a masterpiece, it denigrated it into a train wreck dumpster fire of pathetic simpery. When the ending is so bad it collapses your entire build-up, that's how you know you're royally screwed. Like being ahead for 77 minutes of the game until you concede a penalty, and this magnificent warrior of a man, Andre Pollard, steps up to launch this penalty from 49 meters to send the English home, the Box into World Cup final, and once again to lift up the William Webb Ellis and become the 4-time world champions. I need to point this out. Why bollocks like this with the bear irks modern men? Beyond the mere stupidity and lack of logic. But it's the audacious, arrogant entitlement of women that will drive men to despise you. Now bear in mind, no pun intended of course, this entitlement is not without merit, not presently mind you, but grounded enough in nature to explain it. You see, given that women have the monopoly on being able to produce offspring, it does afford them the capacity to work that entitlement up to a point. Because there is a certain amount of that up to the point that men will put up with, provided they get something out of that. That something being you providing the man with an heir. But when you tell men you're not interested in marriage, you don't want to have any children, and you're Little Miss Independent, the fact that you claim to be independent but still want a man alone is illogical enough to make a man tell you to fuck off. Because there's no reason for you to be that entitled when all you are in that scenario is a walking hole. Yeah, that seems crude, but I'm drinking cask-strength whiskey as I'm writing the script, so I'm failing to care as much. Men actually expect you to be more than that. Especially when you're not champion. Oh, we are more than just our bodies. By the way, men know that is a crock of complete BS, when none of you modern women have any of the kitchen skills your grandmothers did. If your idea of bringing more to the table is trying to be as much of a man as the guy you're trying to snag, you have no idea how to appeal to men. Now, with all of that being said, I want to give some practical advice to the blokes, and the ladies in my comment section will confirm this. Because I adore the ladies in my comment section. Because the one group I've been more critical of than any other is women. And in all of my years of doing this, I've never had any grief from the women for that. Men need to understand this. Not all women are the same, and thank God for that. The smarter women know their sex is drama personified. And they're annoyed by a lot of the same behavior of their own sex. So when they see a man step in and stop the very dramatic behavior that annoys them, they'll respect the men for asserting their authority. If any of you guys have genuine conservative female friends, you will know this. If you think conservative men have anti-female opinions, you should hear what the women have to say. The reason they don't say that in public is because it'll just cause drama, and those ladies are far too smart for that nonsense. But anyway, the main bedrock of your thoughts towards women should always mirror the wise words of Al Bundy. Don't try and understand women. Women understand women, and they hate each other. That is legit some of the best advice I've ever heard in my entire life, and it came from a TV sitcom, which is rather jarring. Do not, under any circumstances, try and understand the actions of women via modernity and its politics. Our politics are already insane, so if you're starting with the broken tools and a false premise, your results are guaranteed to be worth bugger all. If you want to understand women, read Politics by Aristotle, because Aristotle is very heretical by today's standards, and he did not play around. He just straight up said men are superior, women inferior. There's no sugarcoating at all. Men and women are not the same. They are not equal, and they do not have the same nature. I mean, if they did, you could simply explain things to them, and we wouldn't have these dynamic problems between the sexes. It's one of those, oh yeah, good point kind of things that isn't very obvious until you say it out loud. But that point there about your job was to listen to them about why they would choose the bear. There is some truth in that. The problem is, because we follow this doctrine of equality, which doesn't work because it isn't based in reality, the women think this is legitimate, of course they would, it benefits them, and therefore their opinions deserve to be heard. Instead of the honest reality, which is, no, your perceptions are based on politics, which isn't real, and your attempts at trying to figure out statistics really prove you shouldn't ever vote, now shut up and go away. See, if you're trying to analyze a woman's actions using only logic, you will only drive yourself insane and come away with the logical male conclusion, which is they're idiots. Which is a perfectly rational male response, mind you. However, it does fall short of a couple of things. Mainly, that this conclusion focuses solely on the actions and its conclusion. but it fails to answer the question of why they are doing that in the first place, which is a lot more challenging. A reductionist conclusion of stupidity does seem reasonable after all. It's often the case for quite a chunk of them, but not all of them. Humans don't do the same thing over and over again without reason. So your challenge is rather to understand why they are taking that action over and over again. And a warning for you men, just because you can figure out why doesn't mean you can get them to stop doing it. It could very well just be in their nature. Like Al Bundy said, women understand each other and they hate each other. And if you figure out their behavior makes no sense and you favor logic above all else, you will hate them as well, just for different reasons. But I'll explain it like this, and anyone can understand this. Let's say women are hardwired to like chicken, and so they keep eating chicken. Now you know that steak is the logically superior food choice. And you can explain logically and rationally why the steak is the superior food choice. However, logic is not why she is eating the damn chicken, and so no amount of you using logic to explain to her why the steak is better is going to work because she was never using logic to determine why the damn chicken is her preferred choice to begin with. I said this to a buddy of mine who went, the only way to get her to eat the steak then would be either to manipulate her into eating it or forcing her to. Bingo! By that logic, you can't convince her to eat it willingly. Yeah, just like a child in veggies. And he had this realization of, oh, that's just kind of sad now that I think about it. Yeah, reality is a bitch, isn't it? If there is one sentence I want every guy to realize about women, women are not creatures of conviction, they're creatures of condition. Their sex organs determine everything they do. Know what I said previously? Women are hardwired to produce children. That is their function as a female of the species. They are smaller and weaker. They are designed to seek protection. You know, there was one post on that thread that gave the most honest answer about all of this as to why women chose the bear. It's because the bear is dangerous and you're not. Now, on face value, that will go over the vast majority of male heads. Not mine. Pattern recognition hits me like a bullet between the eyes, and I can easily prove this. What did I say previously? Women are not capable of handling power. Their job is to give away power. Their job is to amplify, not hold. Paul Joseph Watson had this post a few days ago, which showed female police officers in Sweden were shagging the very people they were supposed to be investigating, even feeding them classified information about special police operations. Same in the UK, their officers were shagging the male prisoners. This is why it is insane and stupid to employ any females in any occupation that requires force, because concepts like honor, duty, protection do not register to them because these are the traits that make up the nature of men. The reason why those women were shagging the criminals is because the criminals are dangerous and their biological wiring is telling them that dangerous thing can protect me. And the reason for this is because their bodies is something they could offer a conquering tribe to ensure they don't get killed. It's a survival mechanism built into their DNA. And also, weaker and dimmer people are easier to manipulate. Why do you think there's a joke by Reginald D. Hunter? Being a misogynist damn sure doesn't seem to exclude you from much. Women are first and foremost attracted to danger. Where do you think the phrase nice guys finish last comes from? Because nice is harmless. You can forge protector from dangerous. You can't forge protector from nice. Why do you think arse-holish men's are never lacking female attention? That'd be the reason why. Let me end this with something a bit more controversial here, because something that I've heard from a lot of bitter females, especially around the topic of men wanting younger women is, oh, you just want to control women. Yeah, I do. Why the hell would I bother with the chore that is your combative ass? Why on earth would I choose you when I can get someone younger that is more dependent on me? She'd be more loyal to me, and I duty-bound to her. The reason I say this is because Thomas Sowell has 3 questions for liberals, one of them being, compared to what? Has feminism and the liberation of women resulted in a vast improvement in society? No! It's resulted in more women being on antidepressants than in any other time in all of recorded human history. Removing women from competent men has resulted in their heads being filled by worse actors, namely other women, and wacky nonsensical ideas, like they're equal to men and should have the right to frickin' vote. Cheers for watching, and once again, I apologize for nothing.